Well, good morning everyone from Staffordshire. So this week I am staying with my parents. I mentioned in my last video that on Thursday I'm travelling to Doha and then on to Sri Lanka. So I've been here for Easter over the weekend, which was beautiful. And I'm also here to drop off Sophie because she's going to be staying here whilst I'm away. So this week's little vlog is from Staffordshire. I'm just in my room here at my sister's house. So for those of you that don't know, my sister has a Georgian farmhouse in the Staffordshire countryside in a village called Bishop's Wood. And my parents, they have a little tiny house which I'm going to show you around today. It's called the Chicken Pen, and it is literally a stone's throw from my sister's house here on the same land, overlooking the Staffordshire countryside, so they live very close, which works well for them. And I have to say, well, it works well for me as well, so that when I want to come and visit my parents, I can stay here and see my sister and my niece and my brother-in-law. And you get to enjoy both houses, and I often flip between the two. So I spend a lot of time with my parents at their house, just having a chat or a cup of tea, and then I'll spend time here with my sister, and then we all spend time here at this house because this is a big house. So this is the house where everybody gathers. It's a house for entertaining and enjoying being a family together. So it is the perfect little retreat from Edinburgh, and I always love so much getting the train. It takes 4.5 hours from Edinburgh to get here, but it is the most pleasant train journey. The views through the Scottish borders and then through the Derbyshire Dales and Northumberland is heavenly. So it's a very relaxing train journey. And then my sister's house is about 30 minutes from the train station. And when I get here, you go through quite a long driveway to get to this little house. And it is surrounded by fields and countryside. You can't hear anything except the birds and maybe the odd aeroplane, but other than that it is completely peaceful and lovely. So I really enjoy visiting here and just getting an escape. So I actually visit here quite a lot. I was here for Christmas, and then I was back the beginning of January for my brother's 30th birthday, and then I was back in February for my niece Ava. She was in a show, The Little Mermaid, so I came back to see that, and now I'm back for Easter, and I'll be back at the end of April to pick up Sophie, and I'll spend a few days here then. So I'm here all the time, and it really doesn't feel like very far away when you can just get on the train, relax, do some work, and then you're here and you get to enjoy the peace. So this is quite a pretty little place, the village of Bishop's Wood. There isn't really anything in Bishop's Wood apart from houses and a church. There's a village hall, but there is another close village called Brood, and it's pronounced Brood, but it's spelled Brewwood, so it looks like Brewood. And that's where my niece goes to school. There are little shops, restaurants, a hair salon, a church, a very beautiful, typical English village. And my brother-in-law, Billy, he is opening a restaurant in Brood. It's actually opening this weekend, and I'm sad because I'm not going to be here to attend the opening. He did show me around yesterday, and I might be able to show you on the outside today if we drive into the village. Can't show you inside because they are finishing off a lot of work before the launch this Friday, so it's filled with builders and tradesmen. But I can show you the outside, and then of course later on in the year when I come back I can show you the restaurant. But it is going to be beautiful and exactly what the village has been looking for. So yes, this is a very idyllic way of life here, very different from Edinburgh. Edinburgh for me, although Edinburgh is my sanctuary as well, even though I live right in the middle of the city in the Georgian New Town, I often feel like my house is like a little cottage because it has its own entrance, it's double fronted, and it just feels to me like a little cottage with my courtyard. So it is very peaceful, but if I want to, I can just step out and I have cafes, restaurants, theatre, nightclubs, shopping, so it's very vibrant. So coming here is the complete opposite, and you just get to do nothing and relax, which I really like. So yes, this past weekend for Easter, totally lovely time. We had an Easter lunch on Sunday, cooked by Billy. He is the chef in the house. My sister does cook, but Billy likes to do most of the cooking. I think he finds it relaxing from his work, so he gets to come home and just cook, and I think he unwinds by doing that. So we had an Easter lunch. And then yesterday we went to Trentham Gardens, which is a National Trust property. There's a huge lake. You can walk around, and then some beautiful Italian gardens, which were heavenly. I didn't take my camera for that, which I regret, but I did manage to take some photos on my iPhone, which I'll share with you. So yes, I've had a really lovely weekend. I've got a few days now before I go to Qatar, so I'm just trying to get myself organised. I have a bit of packing to do. Tomorrow I'm going to go shopping to get the last minute things, like sun lotions and hair care and personal grooming, and then I want to buy a few clothes. So today I thought that I would concentrate on doing a little video. So I'm going to try my best to make this interesting. I hope you like it, but I just thought that it would be a catch-up, a little chat from Staffordshire. I'll show you around. So I did do a tour of this house about a year ago, maybe a bit more, a year and a half, when it was first finished. And just now, in the next few weeks, they're starting works on the gardens, because the gardens are really plain at the minute. There's a lot of garden. There's a garden at the front of the house, and that wraps around to the side, and then there's a walled garden. So it is all very plain. This house hasn't been lived in for about 20 years before my sister and Billy bought it. So it's completely plain landscape, but the plans are fabulous for this garden, and they're starting phase one, which is going to be the front of the house, which is going to be a very beautiful formal style with box hedging, very planned out, so it looks like a lovely layout and a lovely plan for the front of the house. The front of the house is Georgian, kind of like a doll's house, so I think that structure and form will be great, and then the rest of the gardens are going to be a bit more free-flowing and designed for family life, so it's very exciting. I love a garden, and it's definitely lacking here. The views are gorgeous, but when the gardens are finished it's going to be even better, and I can't wait. And what I like about staying here as well is my bedroom here, which I find so peaceful. I have a view out to the fields from this window, so I often sit here. I've been reading a book. It's called Bunny Mellon, The Life of an American Star Legend. I've read this one before. It's a biography of Bunny Mellon, but I was feeling the need for some inspiration, and the first time that I read this, I found it hugely inspiring. So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to read the jacket here, which explains. Regal yet mischievous, authoritative but insecure, Bunny Mellon was a trend-setting American-style icon, prescient art collector, talented landscape designer, and best-dressed list regular who gained national acclaim for designing the White House Rose Garden at the behest of her close friends, President and Jacqueline Kennedy. Bunny was born into money, and while still smitten with her handsome first husband, she went on to marry the widowed Paul Mellon, the heir to the great Pittsburgh banking and steel fortune. Her lifestyle was the stuff of legend. On a whim, she would send her private plane to deliver flowers and vegetables grown on her Virginia farm to friends all over the country, and she insisted that her staff remove all broken Lay's potato chips before serving them. Troubled by her second husband's infidelities, Bunny carved out an independent life for herself and took solace in forging an enduring connection with nature. She also cultivated relationships with a series of male companions and was active in charities and political fundraising well into her 10th decade, including donating millions to presidential candidate Senator John Edwards. With access to Bunny Mellon's private journals and letters, plus interviews with no more than 175 people, Merrill Gordon paints a nuanced portrait of a woman who held the material world in the palm of her hand, yet found love elusive, a peerless style maker, an individualist whose unerring eye for beauty influenced American culture. So that kind of tells you a little bit about Bunny Mellon. So Bunny was, when she died, she was 104, I think. And she lived this most magical life, best friends with Jackie Kennedy, kind of one of those old school swan type hostesses. And at the time, her husband was one of the richest men in America. So she had access to this huge fortune, but her tastes were not decadent in the slightest. Yes, she would get a private plane to fly vegetables from her Virginia estate to her other homes. But when she married Paul Mellon, he lived in Virginia in this big brick house mansion, and she decided that this house was a little bit ostentatious, a little bit not very comfortable, so she decided that they would build another house on the estate, and it was designed as like a French farmhouse style on 2 levels with low ceilings. Everything was very comfortable. The furniture was worn, but there were Picassos on the wall, Rothkos on the wall. And then she created around the house this heavenly garden, which is now run as a charitable foundation called the Oak Spring Garden Foundation. So Bunny Mellon, if you don't know about her, please do some research. She's fascinating if you like style, especially with interiors. She was an incredible gardener. She had the most wonderful eye for interiors and that old money, non-showy look. And I've been very inspired by her taste and style. So I'm just reading this again now, and I found it really entertaining and fascinating. So I would definitely recommend that. I will include the link in the description box for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you around here, the house. I've already shown the house, so I'll quickly walk through. I'll show you the front garden, which is going to be landscaped soon, and then I'm going to show you my mum and dad's house. And then later on, I think I'm going to show you the restaurant and a walk into the village. Okay, so I'm going to take you downstairs, and we're going to look outside. We're going to go through the kitchen door. Lovely sunlight this morning in the house. No one is home today. This is the kitchen. I think I've shown this before. Lester, the dog, who looks scary but is actually very sweet. He hates going for a walk. Don't you? You hate going for a walk. Just put my shoes clean. And I'm going to take you outside. So this is the garden. So that building there is the chicken pen where my parents live. So you can see how close it is. And then the walled garden is behind their house. And then we have this side garden here, which is really plain, but again, this is going to be all landscaped. But first, let me show you the front garden, which is being done first, which has this excellent outlook here. And this is going to be a kind of formal boxed hedge garden, and that will work really well with the front of the house, which is Georgian, and then the back of the house, which is Tudor. So I think the garden being landscaped will make a huge difference to the house and really just give it exactly what it needs right now, because it's looking very plain. So yes, we'll go through the walled garden. This is probably going to be the most exciting bit of the garden when it's done, because this is a really gorgeous space. My dad mows the lawn, and he does a very nice job with the lines. As you can see, it's his passion. And here is the chicken pen. So the walled garden is going to be, I'll show you the plans later on if I can find them, but this is going to all be planted out with beautiful borders, and I think there's going to be a swimming pool here, which is going to look so elegant. with all of the flowers and planting around it, but I really do love this big space, and you can definitely feel the warmth in the walled garden because it is protected by all the walls, obviously, so the heat stays in. So my parents' house is really tiny, but they love it. It's kind of like a holiday little cottage, but it's only the two of them. It's perfect for them. Let's go in, I'll show you. Very small, but cute house. So this is basically the downstairs. We have the kitchen here. A nice little kitchen. I helped them with the colour of these cabinets. I thought a nice country green would go well with these wooden floors. And then you've got a little breakfast area here. And then this is the living area. So yes, very small. Outlook onto the front of the house. And then the back has an outlook to the walled garden. I think this is so cute. I stayed here with my boyfriend last summer while my parents were away. I really enjoyed just being cocooned in here. It's so cozy and, again, peaceful because of the quiet outlook and the location. Now, my parents really hate me for saying it, but I think they made a bit of a mistake when they designed this, because I would have had the kitchen here looking out onto the gate and the cars coming past, even though there's not that many cars. And then I would have had the lounge area where the kitchen is with those big windows on the other side instead, because I think when you have that garden finished, it will be a beautiful outlook. But my mother goes mad when I say that. Maybe that's because she knows that I'm right. But despite that, it is a beautiful little house, and you can fling open these doors, sit there with a coffee on a gorgeous day, and it is a cute little house. Probably a lot smaller than people. I'll quickly show you upstairs. There is a small dressing room which has a little bed in it. I do like the cabinetry in here. So this is the small dressing room with a bed. And then here there's some storage. And then through this window you can see the stable block buildings where the other houses are. So, and then here we have parents' bedroom. They have a view out the back, which is quite beautiful. And then again, some nice fitted wardrobes. So I do like the finish in this house. And they've been here for a year. And then through here is a little bathroom with a shower. And that is pretty much it. So yeah, a small house, perfect for my parents who are coming up to retirement. A little house for them that they can live out the rest of their days in. My sister is literally next door. Ava can come over whenever she wants, which she does. It's perfect for them, and I think they're so happy to be here. They lived in a very built-up area before they moved here. My dad had lived there all of his life. So for them to move to the countryside, they said that their lifestyle has improved by like 1,000,000% because they just feel so much more peaceful and relaxed here. And I think that is really great for them. So they're very happy and I'm happy for them. So yeah, I just thought that I would give you more context of where I am when I say I'm coming to see my parents, and show you more of the house and the garden. It's a very peaceful place. We're lucky to be here. And I think it's just going to look even better when all of the landscaping gets started. Well, I'm actually in Doha now, and tomorrow travelling to Sri Lanka. So I didn't get a chance to show you around the village at my parents' house. Apologies about that. Because we had rain for the rest of the week, and then also I had a lot of things to do to get ready to leave. So there just wasn't time. And also with Billy's restaurant, they were frantically getting ready for the opening, which was yesterday. So it wasn't really the best time to share it. So I thought that when I return back home at the end of the month to go and fetch Sophie, I will show you around properly then. And because it will be almost May, it should be better weather. So yes, I'm here in Doha. I travelled here on Thursday I travelled here. Quite a long flight because I had to connect in Istanbul, so it was about 12 hours flying altogether. And I'm here. The weather is beautiful, as I think you might be able to see outside. It is so nice just to come to some sunshine and the difference that it makes to wake up to sun every day. That's what I love about being here. When I used to live in Dubai, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed the most, was waking up every day and having sun. It just makes such a difference to your well-being and how you feel. So it's great to be here. Nice to be reunited with my boyfriend. We hadn't seen each other for 3 months, like I mentioned before. So it's great to be back. And I'm excited about travelling together to Sri Lanka. So we've got a great little trip coming up. We're staying in 3 different places. And I am going to be filming there. So I've never been before. I think I talked about this earlier in the video. So if I have, I'm really sorry. I've just forgotten what I filmed. I've never been there before, so I don't know what to expect, but I'm definitely planning to film and make this trip part of the channel. So hopefully it will be fun. So I just thought that I would hop on here now and say hi before all of the travelling starts, and so that you can see a little bit of this place. This is a gorgeous apartment here in Doha. It's filled with light. I have a terrace here, a terrace in the bedroom. It is so peaceful, quiet, very elegant, this interior. So I just love being here. It's like a home from home in many ways, but with more sun. So yes, I'm very, very happy. I'm feeling relaxed. I had a bit of sun yesterday. I'm feeling very pale, so some sun will do me great. I'm just looking forward to having a bit of a holiday. So yes, all good, and so nice to be here and share it with you. Thank you for joining me. This was a bit of a weird vlog, but it was transitional because I was travelling to my parents and then here, so there was not really much that I could share or film, so I hope that this hasn't been too dull and boring and that you've enjoyed just seeing me and having a little bit of a chat. And hopefully next week we'll be able to see some beautiful things in Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.